Hey y'all, I'm here. I am back with another video. So I am here to review The Real Housewives of Dallas Season 5 Reunion Part 1. Now see, initially I was going to be on theme with the girls and wear black on white. But let me tell you something. I also was supposed to do The Real Housewives of New York review first, but I'm going to do it after this one. Because I just finished watching it because I recorded it last night. I fell asleep, y'all. Sorry. But I'm so... Okay, before I get there, I want to say, first of all, I want to let you guys know, if you guys been following my page, you know that I graduated with my MBA earlier this year, whatever. But my diploma finally came in. I can't wait to put it up. I'm so excited. My actual diploma actually came in, so I'm really excited about that. I'm about to start a new job. Like, stuff is really going good for me. I'm really, really excited. I also want to give a really big shout out to Deandra. Okay, shout out to Deandra. Deandra is very active and heavy on Twitter. She's very engaging with her fans. She has liked a lot of the posts. I mean, a lot of the things that I've said. I mean, a lot of my tweets. And when she had put up about the reunion coming out, I commented underneath her post and I said, you know, I can't wait to do a review. I hope you see it. And she told me that once I was done with my review to send it to her. So once I'm done with this review, I'm adding Deandra. Shout out to you, Deandra. You're like my fave on this, next to, you know, Dr. Tiffany. But I will be real and say I'm still going to be honest across the board on how I feel about things. But I just want to say shout out to Deandra because she did not have to like respond to anything. Like, I'm literally a nobody on YouTube. So shout out to her. So let's get into it. Now, I want to say this before I get into it, okay? This review is not going to be for the faint of hearts. I am about to go in and let have on Cameron. I'm talking about, y'all know how y'all watch my videos for this show, and every now and again, well, every episode, I tend to go in on Carrie and Cameron because they normally get on my nerves. And how I kind of go, this is going to be the dragging of all drags because she really tried it this reunion. I mean, the white privilege was just spilling out all over the place from Cam. And it just literally confirmed everything that I think about this woman. Period. Let's get into it, shall we? Okay, let's start off. All right. So, Carrie and Brandy could not be there because they both had COVID. Well, I think Carrie tested for COVID and Brandy was sitting next to her, something like that, on a plane. So they're both not going to be there. So they're just going to be there via Zoom, okay? I am not a fashionista, so I'm not really here to talk about people's fashions or anything. But let me see. I couldn't really see what Brandy had on, but I did not like her hair. I think that the dress that Stephanie had on, the little white tulle to me made the dress look cheap. But other than that, I guess it was fine. Cam, you ain't even worth me talking about. Dr. Tiffany, titties was sitting looking good. Deandra giving me old Hollywood classic vibes. Love the earrings. And Carrie actually looked very nice. Y'all see how I'm fair? Y'all know I don't really go up for Carrie, but I think Carrie looked really nice. I think her hair looked, normal. But I think what she had on, it was fine. It was perfectly fine. Let's get to it. So I'm going in my notes, y'all. So let's go to it. Okay. So y'all know how when we start off, you know, the reunion, how they kind of give the behind the scenes stuff of everybody getting there, whatever. And so I noticed that, first thing I noticed is Cam is sitting in the first seat. Why? I'm thoroughly confused. Now, Dr. Tiffany's sitting in the first seat on the right-hand side. That makes sense. Normally, the first seat, like next to Andy on either side for the reunion, is normally the people who, you know, had the most contention. Either they're like, they tend to be, sometimes even when they are new, they don't necessarily sit on the front. But a lot of times it's like whoever had the most like going on during that season, or whoever was in the most like contention, like who had the most contention going on, or like I said, who just had the most drama, is normally the people who sit in the first seat. And if it's not like that, then it's normally like whoever the OGs are. So if y'all watch the Real Housewives of Atlanta, a lot of times you would see Nene sitting in this seat and then Kenya sitting in this seat, and that's because those are the two people who kind of like make the majority of the show, and the drama is normally surrounding them. So I was thoroughly confused as to why the hell Cam is sitting in the first seat. Granted, Brandy ain't my best friend in my head, but it made way more sense, Zoom and all, for Brandy to sit in the front seat than for Cam to sit in the front seat, because Cam has had no storyline. We literally covered her entire storyline in 2 minutes on this reunion. So I'm very confused. I was annoyed off top that she was sitting in the front seat because What storyline did you have? What storyline did you have? Then she wants to pull out a little briefcase and is like, oh, I have all of my receipts here. First of all, you're not Monique from the Real Housewives of Potomac. You're not her. You're not her. And I don't even go up for Monique, but I see what you're trying to do. You're not her. And we'll also get to it. But let's be real, Cam. Out of all of these people on the stage, you had the time to do that. It says a lot that you actually had the time to sit there and go through Twitter. Bring it down, Jalissa. Bring it. We're not even there. We're not even there, and you're already getting hyped. Bring it down, Jalissa. You're gonna get there. No, we're gonna get there. Bring it down. All right, I'm back. I'm gonna center it again. Okay. So we start off talking about the partying, the different partying and stuff like that they was doing. Not really much was touched during this little segment. We found out that Dr. Tiffany didn't find out. I think she said she found out about her husband's wealth maybe like 6 months into being with him or whatever. Y'all know he's like ridiculously rich. His people own all these hotels, so they got money. And then they also said how after the party, Tiffany ended up in the hospital. And I'm like, damn, like y'all must have really went hard that night. I know her husband was like, never again. I don't like this, okay? So then we go on to the whole Deandra and Carrie situation. Okay. So they showed a whole montage of them going back and forth. And like I've been saying since the beginning of this season, Carrie came into this season, I don't care what you want to call it, bullying, picking on. She was picking on Deandra from the very beginning of this season. I've said that every single episode of the show that I have reviewed this season. I have said that specifically in the beginning of this season. Carrie was nitpicking every little thing that had anything to do with her. And so somebody was like, when they was at that little, I forgot I don't know if it was wine tasting, I think they did. And they was going back and forth. Carrie and Deandra was going back and forth. And Deandra said something. I don't remember what Deandra said, but something to the effect of like, oh, I got a lot going on. And then Carrie was like, oh, well, my daughter is like almost committed suicide. What do you mean you got a lot going on? And a viewer pretty much said like that they feel like Carrie used Olivia's situation to shut down like whatever it is that Deandra was talking about. And Carrie starts to cry and she's like, no, that's not the case. Now, let me say this. I'm not being insensitive to the fact that her daughter actually went through that. That's not what I'm being insensitive to. But I'm sorry. I agree with that viewer. I feel like you used that moment because you, at that time, you really didn't have anything else to combat with what Deandra was saying because you were picking on her for no reason. So to me, in my opinion, and probably that viewer's opinion, the first thing that you could find that nobody can argue against you is, oh, well, my daughter, she tried to kill herself. And so that's why I'm doing all of this. And that's why I got a lot going on. And that's like unnecessary. Period. I think that she used it to take accountability, to not take accountability. That's just my opinion. And then Carrie says that she felt some type of way because after she said all of that at the table, it's not like Deandra called her the next day to check up on her to see how she was. And Deandra said exactly what I was thinking. Why the hell would I call you when you just finished berating me? It's not even like y'all left that dinner on good terms. Y'all left that dinner still not seeing eye to eye. So why the hell would Deandra go out of her way to go and call you? That makes absolutely no sense, Carrie. You just went in. You've been going in on this girl for the longest. But now you talk bad on her and you think that she's supposed to pick up the phone and call you because you said that your daughter tried to kill herself. That is very unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. But that was not the purpose of y'all conversation. And it actually had nothing to do with what y'all were talking about. And I think that's what the viewer was trying to say. Your daughter going through her mental situation has nothing to do with what y'all were talking about at that point in time. And I fully agree. And at this point of the reunion, we're not even that deep into it. And I can already sense it. Cam is feeling herself. Like Cameron is really, and I really feel like it's because Cameron is in the first seat. And I don't think she's ever been in the first seat before. So she's in the first seat, aka the hot seat. So I'm noticing, I'm like, Cam's really feeling herself because she's chiming in when she don't need to be. So I was like, this was like an omen to me about what was going to happen the rest. Because I'm like, something is off. Cam's a little bit too, feeling herself a little bit too much for me. So then we come back on to Deandra and Carrie or whatever. Now remember, when Carrie was in the van with, I believe it was KAM actually. And they was on their way to the winery. She was like, oh, Deandra's talking about how she was sick all week and how she had to go to the hospital. She's just a hypochondriac. And then when they got there and she talked out, because she was like, oh, you don't have COVID. You don't have COVID, is it? Do you? And so I want y'all to remember that part, right? But then when we come back, Carrie is like, oh, I don't understand why you think I didn't take you being sick seriously. Like, I came and I brought you pajamas and I brought you this and I brought you that. So my whole thing is, Carrie, if you are saying that you brought her all of these things, you brought her nightgowns, you brought her this, that, and the third, because you knew for a fact she wasn't feeling well, why is it then when you're with KAM, would you sit up there and try to make it seem like she was overreacting and nothing was actually wrong with her? Because as a viewer, that's what I took from that conversation. I took from that conversation of with you and KAM to you pretty much saying she's overblowing it. There's nothing wrong with her. She's always doing the most, because you even said it again later. So I'm a little bit confused, Carrie. You got to pick a side of the fence to fucking stand on. And they asked Deandra, do you feel like you was being bullied by Carrie? And I'm not even trying to make this like a race thing, but it really is a race thing. White women have a really big problem, or white people in general have a really big problem with the word bully. They think it's such a loaded fucking word. This is the thing. Bullied, picked on, whatever the hell you want to call it. That's what Carrie was doing. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Similar to, I will get on to Dr. Tiffany, how y'all did the same thing to her. But specifically when it comes to Carrie and Deandra, Carrie was picking every itty bitty thing. I will even give y'all just a small example. When they went to the winery, right? And, everybody had first got there before they even got into the table and stuff like that. And here goes Carrie in the background. Did the host tell you that one of the girls here don't drink? Talking about whoever the little redhead friend of the show is. And they was like, oh, no. Oh, well, that's such a wonderful guest to her. She didn't even tell them. See, it's little shit like that. You was nitpicking, Carrie. And granted, you got your own stuff going on, which we'll get to in a second. But the facts of the matter is that you were picking on Deandra. That is not anything that anybody made up. Those are the facts of the matter. We got two eyes. We seen what you was doing. It is what it is. Let's move the hell on, okay? They also talk about how Deandra and Carrie have not spoken since, I guess the last time they seen each other or whatever. And Carrie at that time said, well, go ahead, tell people why that is. Do you know why that is? And she said, well, that's not my business to tell, which we'll get to in a second. So then Carrie pretty much says that she feels some type of way against Deandra because when people was coming for her on Twitter, people like me, because I'm going to be real. Not that I added Carrie or anything like that, but in the beginning when Carrie was doing the most, I was being honest. I would get on my reviews and be honest and say you were doing the absolute most. But anyway, she was like, oh, when people was coming for me on Twitter, you didn't have my back. Why, again, back to the whole thing about, oh, why didn't you call me? Why would she have your back when it's true? It would be one thing. This is the thing, Carrie. It would be one thing if that wasn't the case. If in our reality, you really weren't bullying her, you really weren't picking with her, you were just being fine and everybody was just throwing it, just making a bigger deal out of it. But that's not the case. You actually were picking on her. So who is Deandra to jump out the window and say, oh, leave my friend alone, leave my friend alone? No. I don't understand how all of y'all, and it boggles my mind, and Andy pissed me off with this later. I don't understand how y'all get on. Y'all been on this show 5 seasons now, not Carrie, but y'all been on this show long enough now to know that the shit that y'all have done, even if it was a year ago, it's going to be brought back up because it's on television. So maybe that's not how it is now. But at the time, that is how it was. You just have to deal with what happened. It's just that simple. You just have to freaking deal with it, okay? So then Stephanie chimes in or whatever and says, oh, well, Deandra, I do think the only thing you did that was a little bit shady or whatever is you put something up saying like, oh, bully free proof or something like that, bully free proof. And Deandra was like, okay, but I did that the night that episode came on. I didn't continuously do it. I did it the night that came on. And here come Andy talking about something. Well, I mean, I get that, but if y'all already made up, then what's the point? Andy, you need to cut the shit because Andy really pissed me off with that. This is how that makes no sense. If that was the case, right, Andy? If that's the case, that it happened, then why are we even having a reunion for? Why are we having a reunion and bringing up old stuff that everybody here has already moved past? Because that's the part of the damn show. So more than anything, I didn't understand how Andy did not get that purpose. Y'all going The way that a lot of the housewives react, you go episode by episode by episode. You don't. What if Deandra was to step out and be like, "Oh no, we're all fine now, y'all," then that would pretty much ruin the rest of the damn season for us viewers. So as she said, I got what Deandra was saying. She was like, "I'm talking about that particular episode, not in general." And again, Andy, if we're using that logic, then there's no point of us having this reunion, because I could sit up here and ask you, Andy, well, why are you even asking Carrie and Deandra about this? They already, this whole thing is gone. So why are we talking about it? Because it was on the show, correct? Because this is a reunion, correct? Because this is to talk about things that happened in the past. I don't understand how y'all don't get that concept. That's mind blowing to me how y'all don't get that simple damn concept. Next. Oh, sorry. And then we're going to stay on this. Deandra, because, Stephanie was just like, I just don't feel like that was right. And Deandra was just like, well, I'm going to tell you right now. The way that I fight with my hands out, close fists. I'm not like you. I don't sit up there and hide my hand. I'm not a damn doormat. And Stephanie, she's like, I'm not a doormat. I said, Deandra, my girl Deandra is on this reunion. Whatever it is that Mama D, because we seen in the beginning, like Mama D told her, Deandra, like, when you go out there, you better be a boss. Like, be a boss. Don't go out there and be hiding and snotting. Be a boss. And that's the type of energy that Deandra came out with. Deandra came out with the energy of, I'm not playing with none of you hoes today. None of y'all about to come for me. I'm about to get all of y'all together. I'm here for the energy, Deandra. This is why you are my fave. Because she wasn't pulling no punches this reunion. When she said that to Stephanie, I was like, work, Deandra, work. Because Stephanie, you need to mind your business because nobody was talking to you, okay? So then we move on to Carrie and talking about how Carrie was just a mess this season. I don't need to drag Carrie any more than I already have. She was a whole hot ass mess this season. Everybody knows that. And long story short, she pretty much said it was because her marriage was falling apart and her husband pretty much are getting a divorce. And they talked about the prenuptial agreement because, she had talked about before how, she signed the prenuptial, a prenup or whatever when she got married. And so she was trying to figure out a way to maybe get it adjusted. Now, can somebody please correct me if I'm wrong? Is this Carrie's second marriage or is this his first? I don't remember. I don't know if this is her first or second marriage, but I do remember in the past seasons of her talking about how much she was like dependent on like her husband and stuff like that for money. And in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I don't know that woman's marriage. I don't know none of that. But I really feel like Carrie was terrified more so because she actually has to get up and go to work. Yeah, you had a little jewelry business line, but let's be real. You wasn't really doing much with that, girl. You wasn't doing enough to really sustain yourself. You was probably doing a bare minimum just to be able to say, oh, I have a business and I have a little bit of money coming in. But you wasn't really doing that thing to the full degree. You was cool staying at home, being a stay-at-home mom, which I guess is fine, but at the same time, if you're sitting up here telling your daughter that she got to be out here and getting it on her own, you need to do the same. And in my opinion, I feel like Carrie just got very, very, it's like in one hand, she knew that you probably need your own money, but at the same time, she was just so comfortable with not working and just simply living off of her husband's money. Now, Carrie, it's time to get up and go to work. And that same shit that you was talking about Dr. Tiffany and oh, how she's so stuck up and all this when she has a job, you're going to learn real quick, fast, in a hurry why Dr. Tiffany acts the way that she does, why she lives her life the way that she does, now that you actually have to get up and go to work. Same thing with Deandra. Now you're going to see what it's out. Granted, Deandra definitely come from money, so I ain't saying she the hardest hoe that she have to break her back or anything, but she does and she has worked compared to a lot of the other ladies on the show. Dr. Tiffany's probably the only person who probably works more, I guess, than Deandra does. But prior to Dr. Tiffany coming on here, Deandra was the only one who really had a job around here. Let's just be real. Let's be real about it, okay? So, yeah, so that's that on that. They asked, because I think Carrie was talking about at one point in time about how, like, her mom was a binge drinker, and then, her daughter said something like, oh, I'm glad you stopped the cycle. And somebody was like, do you think that Carrie has a drinking problem? Duh, Andy Cohen. Duh. And Kim gonna be like, well, no, she clearly doesn't have a drinking problem because, we work together and we do a podcast and she goes hours without drinking. Girl, see, this is why Dr. Tiffany be coming for you now. You never heard anything called a functioning alcoholic? You never heard of anything called a functioning alcoholic, meaning somebody who can go through a whole 8 hours of working. It ain't really a big deal. They could probably go a whole day without drinking. But when they do drink, it's excessive. That is being an alcoholic, when you don't know how to stop. So that's what I'm saying, Cam. Again, mind your business. You don't know what you're talking about. And that's why Dr. Tiffany comes for you the way that she does. Because you swear that you know what you're talking about and you don't. Oh, because she don't drink around me. So what? What does that even mean? Like, what? Just because she doesn't drink around you like that. Girl, bye. So then we get on to Cam. And like I've said before, Cam has I want y'all to really understand this. She had no storyline this season. Her and Stephanie in particular did not have a storyline this season. But I let Stephanie live because at least I feel like Stephanie played her role. She did her little lockers and she just got out of our faces. Kim, on the other hand, is acting like she's really doing a fucking big ass feat. Girl, your storyline this year was that you had somebody come and train your damn dog and you moving into a new damn house. That was your storyline. You had no storyline, which is why you were clinging why you were clinging this season on fucking with Dr. Tiffany, and why this reunion, you're coming in here with all of the smoke for Dr. Tiffany because you don't have a storyline. So guess what? You're using her for a storyline. That's why Andy Cohen was able to wrap your shit up in all of a minute and a half. And I guarantee you, because we only have 2 parts, that's all we're going to talk about you in regards to this entire season, because you didn't bring anything. I still don't get why she was sitting in the front seat. I don't get it. You could have been on the side, girl, because you brought nothing this season. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Get the hell out of here. Nothing. So then we move on to Dr. Tiffany, the actual real star of the show. Because if we're just going to be real about it, let's be real. Who's the real stars of the show this season? Deandra and Dr. Tiffany. And that's facts. And that has nothing to do with the fact of, oh, I really like them. No, those are the facts. I'm going to go like this. It was Tiffany. I'll tell you in order who had a quote unquote storyline. Dr. Tiffany, Brandy, Deandra, Carrie, Stephanie, and then Cam. Because at least Stephanie was doing charity. Cam, your stuff was all self-centered as far as I'm concerned. So let's just be real. So anyway, so Dr. Tiffany, we get on her whole little segment. Andy asks her, how does her job feel about, her being on the show? And of course, I'm pretty sure people was looking at her like she crazy. And they are. She was like, people told me that this is career suicide. Nobody's going to take you seriously. And not saying that I agree with that, but I get that sentiment, because as a regular, average person who is not on reality TV, it seems like a little like, why would you go and do that? Like the Real Housewives is real messy. You feel me? Like, it's just real messy, real catty ass shit. So I can understand from that profession, people looking at her and being like, why would you even want to indulge in that nonsense? So I get it. Then somebody asked her, I feel like Dr. Tiffany is a little bit too sensitive when it comes to her mom. Like, everything her mom says, she looks at it and says it some way, but when she's around other people, she's really, really nice and stuff. So maybe it's just you. And Dr. Tiffany admitted it. She said, maybe I think it is me to a degree. I am a little sensitive, but at the same time, that's her mother. So, for example, I don't even know, because that's her mom, she can catch on to what certain things that she's saying more than the average person does. So for example, if it's like me and my best friend or something like that, and we're hanging out with somebody else, and there might be something that my best friend says that to that person is not that big of a deal. But because I know her, I know for a fact that that's either shade, or she trying to be slick, or she trying to be sarcastic. I know them better than you do. So of course you wouldn't catch on to little things. But at the same time, it is that Dr. Tiffany is a tad bit sensitive, and that's fine. She also talked about how her parents are not happy necessarily with her being on the show. Her father told her literally, I think the day before yesterday, that she's an idiot for being on the show. And that's probably from, like she said, the friends that he has, or the kids' friend, or his friends' kids telling them the stuff that they see. I mean, Dr. Tiffany I guess they can pretty much say that she was getting drunk and stuff like that and twerking, but that's the least of y'all problems. Who cares? Alrighty. I'm ready, y'all. I'm ready, because this is where I'm about to go in and let have. Y'all ready? Let's get to it. Okay, so We then talk about the TikToks that Tiffany has made, okay? And they show, and I've seen this TikTok a couple of times, the one of her mom coming into the room and yelling at her, whatever, and then taking the shoe and throwing it at her. Cameron said, no, sorry, it was a viewer that said, and I guarantee you that viewer was white, said, I mean, you go on there and you make fun of your mom. Isn't that just being stereotypical Asian? Like, isn't that stereotyping Asians? So before Kim even said anything, I said, bitch, how you gonna tell her she's stereotyping her actual life? That's her life experience, and she's an Asian woman on top of that. How the fuck is she gonna stereotype her own life? That makes absolutely no sense. And then Cam jumps in and says, yeah, I feel like, oh, like that was really like stereotypical, and I actually got calls about that, and it was like really, really super offensive. And Dr. Tiffany was me. She said, oh, so you got calls about it. So somebody called you about that, huh? You got other, she ain't say this, but in my head, oh, so you got so many other Asian friends, because the only people that could call you and feel offended by that shit is Asian people. So let me get this right. Cameron. You have a whole bunch of Asian friends and all of them called you when they seen that? Or was it a whole bunch of white women that called you? In my opinion, nobody fucking called you. And she's like, oh, I just thought that was stereotypical. And Dr. Tiffany said the same thing that I said. Explain to me. I want you to explain to me, Cam, how am I being racist against my own race? Break that down. White woman, Let me tell you something. Cameron, you are a privileged, rich, white woman in America. Don't you ever in your life sit across from somebody else that is from another ethnic background and tell them what they are doing or that their life experiences are stereotypical. You don't have the clearance. You don't have the right. You don't even have the fucking experience or the cultural knowledge as a white, not only so as a white person, but you in particular, Cam, you don't have the right to fucking say that. You stick in your lane. If she was a white woman and doing something, I don't know, that's stereotypical white, then you could talk about that. But you don't sit on TV, national TV, and try to chastise an Asian woman about her life experience. You got the game fucked up. I mean, you got the game completely fucked up. You have thoroughly lost your mind. And I think she did the same thing throughout the season or something like that when it came to the chicken foot, which we'll get to later. But that really blew my mind. You really sat across from this Asian woman and told her that her life experience was stereotypical and offensive to you? Let's be real, Cam. Let's be real. In my opinion, you're mad because you can't do something like that. That's just how it comes off. It comes off like, let's just be real. In all reality, it comes off like this. It comes off like you're the type of white person or you're the type of white woman that's mad that I can say nigga and you can't. That's the vibes that it gives me. Oh, well, when you say it, I mean, nobody has a problem, but it's super, super offensive. You as a white woman don't get to tell me what the hell I get to say and what I don't get to say, especially when it comes to people within my own race. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? That was just the white privilege jumping out. It was every bit. It's like when you have like the damn toothpaste and you just squeezing down. She got every little drop of white privilege out of that situation that she could. You fucking tried it, Cam. You really fucking tried that. And like Dr. Tiffany ended up saying later, because she was like, oh, I just didn't think that it was funny. She was like, okay, so you didn't find it funny then. And I think Dr. Tiffany was like, I mean, well, what's funny to you is funny to you, and what's funny to me is funny to me. Oh, well, I just didn't think it was funny. Okay, then don't follow me. Don't follow me then, period. If you don't like what you see, guess what? There's 1,010,000 other TikToks. Why you gotta watch what she's going on if you're so fucking quote unquote offended? You're not offended, Cam. You're looking for something to say. You are looking for a storyline. You are looking in all season. And I'm sorry, I know Andy's not gonna call it out, but on some real shit, Cam, it just comes across racist across the board. This whole season, you have come off racist as fuck towards Tiffany. I'm not saying that you are. I'm saying this is how it has come off. Because you, more than anybody on this cast, has been nitpicking every single thing when it comes to Dr. Tiffany. Not to say that she doesn't do anything wrong, because we'll get to the things that she does wrong in a minute. But for you to sit on that stage and say that, girl, Dr. Tiffany, you handled it a whole lot better than me, because it would have been a whole lot of furniture moving if it was me. That shit pissed me off, y'all. It pissed me off. So then Carrie jumps in and pretty much says that, because I think they was talking about the whole thing about Dr. Tiffany feeling pressured by Carrie to like drink or whatever, and the word bullying again. And she was like, put it like this: I felt pressured, and I didn't think that was cool. I didn't think it was cool either. If somebody say they don't want to drink, they don't want to drink, just leave it alone. Because I'm that person. Like, I'm the person in my friend group who don't drink, and it irks the hell out of me when everybody's like, drink, because I'll get mad. Like, I'll get mad and I'll just leave. If I'm telling you I don't want to drink, I don't want to drink. Just leave me the hell alone. And so Carrie was like, she felt as if, oh damn, I done dragged. I'm sorry, y'all. I took that long to drag Carrie. I didn't even mean for this video to be this long, but it's cool. Let's move on to part 2, because I really ain't got a whole lot more to say about this. Actually, I'm just gonna mash this into one video, so disregard that last part. But anyway, so Carrie is like, oh, well, you didn't follow up. She felt like Dr. Tiffany didn't follow up on their friendship or whatever. And Dr. Tiffany was like, well, because in my opinion, like, you was picking on me, which y'all were. And again, this is not, I want to say this again. I really, really implore y'all to go back and watch the episodes, the beginning, like all of the episodes that I did do of this show. Me and everybody else been saying that all of y'all were picking on her. Y'all were. It's just this. It's just the facts of the matter. And then here comes Cam jumping in again, talking about something. Well, I'm just saying because you did the same thing. Because, and like Dr. Tiffany said, first of all, I was speaking to Carrie. So do you ever let anybody finish their conversation? No, because it's her privilege jumping out, because she feels like she can say whatever the hell she wants to say. That's her. That's Cam. She feels like we're all supposed to bend down at her feet. That's Cam's attitude. And we're all supposed to stop and listen to whatever the fuck she has to say. And what she has to say is more important than what everybody else has to say. Cam, you need to mind your business. Mind your business and stay in your lane, which is no lane. You have no lane. You have no lane. You have no lane. Just leave it alone. You don't. Oh, I'm not going to say it again. So then we get on to the whole thing about, picking on Dr. Tiffany and her feeling like she had to fit in. And one of the questions is that they feel like, oh, Dr. Tiffany is always correcting somebody. And Dr. Tiffany was like, I mean, to be quite honest, it comes from a good place. I just want people to I correct people because I don't want them to use that same word somewhere else and they look stupid. Now, I feel twofold about this. I do believe her when she says that she don't want somebody to go into another conversation feeling stupid. But I also do feel like Dr. Tiffany, she a little shady. She shady. She definitely be shady when she be correcting people. So you see how I can still be fair and give criticisms across the board? Because Dr. Tiffany is a little, girl, talk like this, don't talk like that. Girl, talk like this, don't say that. She is like that. And I did not agree with the whole thing about when they came over. I mean, granted, let me say this. I thought it was overkill when they came over to her house and she was listing down all of the rules. I do think that was overkill. I do think that was too much. However, that is her house. It's her house. So her house, you ain't over here. My house, my rules, my house. I do whatever it is that I want to do. So yes, I do think that she did a little bit too much, given all of these rules of y'all can't do this, y'all can't do that, y'all can't do this, y'all can't do that, and verbal warnings and written write-ups and citations and stuff. Yes, that was absolutely too much. But at the same time, it's her house. So her house, her rules. You don't like it, get the hell out. It's just that simple, okay? Then Cam pulls out, I don't know, a whole bunch of fucking paper, and she's showing like these tweets or whatever that Dr. Tiffany made or whatever the case may be. And I'm just sitting here looking at her like, you think you're doing something, huh? That's all I got from Cam. Cam really thought she was doing something. She really thought that she was gagging somebody. She really thought that she was hitting you with the hi-ya moment. Cam, baby girl, That's pathetic. The fact, first of all, it says a lot about how much time you have. How much time do you have on your hands that you can sit down and go through a whole bunch of tweets and print them out and have them color coded, even if you even did that your damn self? But that just shows the the amount of time that you have on your hands, and you need to be doing something the hell else. You are bored, girl. You are bored. And I said the same thing about Monique when she was on Real Housewives of Potomac. The fact that you would even take the time out of your day to do this shows me you have no real life. Because who the hell else would sit there and take their time to go to, you literally, this was your process. You had to go to twitter.com, log in, either go to Tiffany's profile, scroll through. Okay, we're going to screenshot that, print that out, screenshot that, go through all of the screenshots, or go through all of her likes. You really took the time to do all of that. You're thoroughly pressed about how fabulous Dr. Tiffany is. That's what it is. You're big mad. You're mad. You're mad. Oh my gosh. And then Dr. Tiffany was like, long story short of it, Dr. Tiffany was like, girl, I said what I said. It is what it is. Like, you might as well just get over it. And Kim was like, if I said that, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Girl, if that's what you wouldn't be able to sleep over, that just shows how much you ain't got nothing going on, girl. This woman probably can't sleep because she got to think about how many fucking COVID patients she's got to deal with. That she got to deal with people dying left and right. Just like Mama D said to Deandra, like in one of the first episodes about when Deandra was like, oh, well, you know, she said that she got a lot going on. I mean, but everybody got a lot going on. And Mama D was like, not the way she do. Thank you, Mama D. Not the way Tiffany does. Okay? And Kim was like, oh, I mean, I don't understand how you can say that, and we're supposed, and I would never say that to a friend. But that's the thing, Kim. You're not friends with Dr. Tiffany. Let's just put that on the forefront. You are not friends with her. You are not friends with Dr. Tiffany. So let's just cut the shit. She is a castmate, but you're not friends with her at all. So that's probably why she felt the need to say whatever it is that she said. And Dr. Tiffany was cracking me up when they talked about the little calendar. She was like, well, I felt like maybe she needed to know. I said, come through, Dr. Tiffany, with the shade, because you're not going to come for me, girl. You really think you're going to make me feel bad about some tweets that I said? Bye. Bitch, bye. Bye, 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 bye. And then for the very last gaslighting moment before we go off, Kim said that she felt like Dr. Tiffany purposefully set her up as far as the chicken feet thing. Girl, you're not that important. You are not that important. You're not even like the most interesting person on this cast. Okay? You're not even the most interesting person on this cast for somebody to feel like they got to go out their way to offend you. And clearly, she ain't got to do much to offend you, because you're going to feel offended any damn way. You are one of those, Kim is one of those people who she wants to be oppressed so badly. You just want a reason to have something to say, because I stand by what I said, and this is exactly what's probably going to be the theme of my damn video. You have no storyline. So you are clinging on to Dr. Tiffany for one. And it's just that simple. She really pissed me off this episode. The caucasity of it all. The caucasity of it all. How dare you? Brandy actually didn't say one word the whole fucking first part. I guess we'll get to her next week. And we'll see. Because the crazy part about all of this is I'm thinking I'm going to come into this reunion like, I don't know, dragging maybe Brandy or something like that. Because she did do a lot this season. And I was going to like drag Carrie or whatever. But you want to know what? What I will give Carrie, because I do go in on her, so I'm going to give her 10s. At least Carrie admitted to the fact that she had her own shit going on at home, and that's why she acted the way that she did, and she apologized for her behavior. I will always appreciate somebody that takes accountability. Although I still may not care for Carrie Shane, my favorite person in the world, I appreciate the fact that she took accountability for her actions, and she didn't, for the most part, she didn't really try to put it, a couple things she tried to put off on Deandra, but for the most part, she did take responsibility and accountability for her actions, and I appreciate that. I can always appreciate somebody standing in their shit. I'm sorry, Deandra. I'm so sorry, girl. I'm so sorry. I had to go in and let have. You still my fave, sis. I still go up for you. But that girl, Cam, she ain't for me. She ain't for me. But anyway, that's all, y'all. I'm done. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.